Welcome to another episode of Elite Girl Talk inspired by psychology for the women who enjoy thoughtful conversations. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about three main psychological concepts that you can start applying today to change your life in 30 days. Before we get into today's episode, make sure you visit Elite Girl Talk Substack for a special weekly surprise and bonus content. Also, remember, Elite Girl Talk is available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts for your listening preference. Okay, let's get into today's episode. It's about to be a new year, and so many women are eagerly setting up their vision boards, their 2026 goals, and preparing to finally reinvent themselves. However, the most common mistake that women make is not necessarily having the wrong goals or too big of goals, but lack of planning and lack of simplicity. The reality of changing your life is that it is far more simple than we think and only requires two main core components to master. That is habit formation and planning. If you can master consistent daily actions and successfully plan, you are more likely to actually see change in your life rather than trying to do everything at once and get easily distracted by focusing on too many things at the same time. The psychological concepts that I'm going to discuss are going to break down how to form consistent, effortless habits and ways that you can start doing today, not January 1st, but today. At the end of this episode, I'm going to give a small exercise to help you start today that is going to incorporate all of the concepts discussed in today's episode. It's simple, easy, and no need for motivation or willpower. The first psychological concept is the implementation intention strategy, which is the form of if-then plans, which means there is a specific action connected to a desired outcome. This strategy was introduced by psychologist Peter Goldweiser, where he did several studies linking intentional planning to an increase in the success of a specific goal. For example, if you want to create a workout routine, you look at your calendar and you create the specific time that will be the catalyst to your habit. You would say to yourself, when I get home from work, that's when I put on my workout clothes and go to the gym. Or after lunch, that's when I put on my gym clothes and do a 20-minute yoga session. Benjamin Franklin made this interesting statement that highlights this strategy, stating, "People don't plan to fail, they fail to plan." Essentially, most people's intentions are to succeed in their goals. It's very common to underestimate the intentional planning that is required in order to follow through on your specific goals. By connecting consistent habits to other parts of your day and other habits, this creates a series of events that automatically align with the woman that you are trying to become. The second psychological concept is the habit formation theory. This theory explains the way that repeated actions can become automatic behaviors through a neurological loop, also known as the cue routine reward cycle. This cycle allows the control to shift from conscious thought, which is in the prefrontal cortex, to automatic process in the basal ganglia part of the brain. The cue routine cycle happens in 4 stages. The first stage is the trigger, usually a time, place, or emotion, which starts the behavior. The second stage is the craving, which is the desire for the reward that the habit is going to provide. For example, creating a working out habit, the desire is leading to weight loss, or if you want to create a whitening your teeth habit, the desire is leading to a wider and brighter smile. The third stage is the routine stage, which is the action, behavior, and habit on a routine basis. And the reward is the last stage. This is when you first start noticing the positive outcome and therefore are more likely to repeat the habit. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, states that you become your habits, and habits are the small, consistent actions and systems, not just big goals, and the focus should be identity change. The key thing to remember is your habit should align with the woman that you want to be. Instead of focusing on bigger goals that may feel out of reach in the moment, small, daily, consistent actions lead to desirable outcomes and eventually become automatic. The third psychological concept is the reward system. The reward system is a group of neural structures that are responsible for desires or cravings for a reward and motivation for that reward. The reward system is related to operant conditioning, which is the reward being the positive reinforcer and driving the habit. Essentially, having a strong desirable outcome and reward tied to a habit increases the chances of successful habit formation, leading to the bigger outcome goals. Wendy Wood, a psychologist and author of Good Habits, Bad Habits, states in her book, a habit happens when a context cue is sufficiently associated with the rewarded response to become automatic, to fade into that hard-working, quiet second self. That's it, cue and response. This reinforces the idea that habit formation is simple and straightforward. It's not about having the perfect environment or being the perfect person. It's about having efficient systems, plans, and a desired outcome actually linked to the habit. Not a habit that looks good on social media or that your friends are doing, a habit that is tied to your own personal desired goal and reward. That is what is going to stick with you. That is what's going to allow you to succeed. On average, it takes around 80 to 240 days to build a habit, averaging around 66 days in most cases, depending on the complexity of the habit. However, if you commit today for the next 30 days, you will experience the psychological shifts that were mentioned today in this episode that will increase your chances of continuing your habit and becoming your elevated identity. If you made it to the end of this episode, I encourage you to pick a habit right now that you're going to implement for the next 30 days. Go to your vision board where you wrote your goals, refer to the outcomes and the woman that you want to be in 2026, and think of one of the habits that the woman you want to be already has instilled in her. Does she work out every day? Does she wake up at a certain time? Does she meal prep healthy meals? Does she read every day? Does she invest in a hobby like chess or knitting every day? Pick a habit that resonates with your 2026 identity. Make a plan, identify how to create an efficient and supportive environment, and make sure to write down the reward and what's on the other side of the habit that you are choosing. Make sure to leave in the comments what habit you are committing to for 2026. If you love this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review if you're listening on Apple or Spotify podcast. And if you're listening on YouTube, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a video. Thank you for listening. Until next time.